Cheat, and Steal. We are a bi-monthly podcast about liars, frauds, thieves, and bullshitters. If you like what you hear, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We're at Lie, Cheat, Steal Podcast. And go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating and review. Smash all the like buttons. Do the whole 9 wherever you're listening to us at. And if you really like what you hear, you can actually subscribe to our Patreon, where we do 2 more episodes every month. That's patreon.com/lie, cheat, and steal. That being said, I am here with, not with our co-host as normal, not with Kath Barbadoro.
I am officially a co-host.
Yeah, here with the usurper co-host.
Hey, you know how it is. Sometimes you fill in at a job, and that job becomes yours. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, guys, Zach Brooks is on the show. We're doing the 3rd and final part to our series, Texas Crooks with Zach Brooks. I want to say, Zach, thank you so much for coming on the show and doing this all for us.
It's been fun.
And I want to cheers your Houston Oilers mug with my Lone Star mug, because this is all about Texas criminals, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And it was criminal what they did to the Oilers.
Real talk. Yeah, Kath can't join us today. Kath is in Austin. She's here. She's somewhere. She's running around. I can sense it.
She's actually in town.
She's in town.
I saw her last night, and she was like, "Yeah, I won't be there." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
You are here."
Yeah, she's doing actually. So she is somewhere doing. She's doing Master Pancake. Kath is doing real comedy.
That's correct.
While me and Zach are about to shoot dice in the basement of a liquor store and talk about crooks. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Zach, how you been? How's your week been going?
It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't complain.
Yeah, we usually do a little chop it up here at the top, you know. But yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just living my life.
Living your life, yeah, man. I'm same here. I've been, guys. I don't know. This will be out after I get back, but I'm about to go do a string of shows in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska. And January is when you want to go.
That's prime time for that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, guys, yeah. So I'm excited to get into this because we said so. We covered Titanic Thompson. All right, and you guys go back and check that one out. Titanic Thompson is I would say like the consummate professional. I'm trying to like put them all into categories. Titanic Thompson being the consummate professional of the group. You have Amarillo Slim, kind of the baby face of the group.
Yeah, probably the one that was least criminal. I'll say that.
Least criminal for sure. The one we're getting into
least
today,
violent.
Yeah. What we're getting into today is 100% a violent criminal. Like that.
Yeah. And honestly, not even really a gambler.
Not even really a gambler. Just ran it. Financier of gambling.
A facilitator.
A facilitator of gambling. Yeah. Guys, we're talking today about Benny Binion. Benny Binion, you guys, he's the 3rd part of our series. We want to focus on these like kind of towering figures in Texas gambling. Sure. And that all their stories kind of converge. We'll get into it. The World Series of Poker. Right. Which is, this is like, that's like the Avengers of our universe that we're building here.
Yeah. That would be, this is, I don't know, this might be Iron Man, I guess. In that situation.
But yeah, so I want to get right into it. So today we're talking about Lester Binion, Lester Ben Binion, known as Benny. He is a American, like I said, not a gambler, more of an American organized crime figure and casino owner.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Casino owner, sometimes horse trader, light rodeo enthusiast.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, born in rural Texas in 1904. He was born in a town called Pilot Grove, which if you go back and look up, doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Texas towns like that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Texas towns, I've lived in Texas my whole life, that I don't know.
You can tell me anything. You can be like, man, I live from Dick Knuckle, Texas. And I'm like, yeah. We're like, where's that? If you say Dallas, Fort Worth, I'll be like, that makes sense.
Yeah. If you make it like sound vaguely racist, I'm going to yeah, I'm from Vitriol, Texas. Okay. Yeah, I believe that's the place.
I'm from Racial Anger, Texas. Yeah. Dallas, Fort Worth is like an incomprehensible web of Texas cities to me that I just don't know where they're from. Yeah,
there's way too many of them.
But so we're gonna get right into his story here. So Benny Binion, back when he was born, people could just kind of die. Yeah. Like it was like childhood, you weren't guaranteed to make it out of it, and so his parents didn't really. He was a sickly child. He was born in 1904. His parents kept him out of school due to his poor health. He estimates he never made it past the 2nd grade.
Yeah. And then he was sick until he was like 10 or 11, till the dice found him.
Yeah. Gambling pulled him out of his stupor.
The dice gods came down. And
Yeah, the dice gods. But you got it. Yeah,
you're meant for more, Benny.
Yeah. It's not your time, Benny. Yeah, so he was, his father was a horse trader.
Yeah.
And that was like a bit of an outlaw profession itself. It existed kind of at the edge of society. It wasn't like a standard regular job that people respected.
No.
Yeah. And he would, so his son wasn't in school, so he would take Benny with him on his trips. And he got out there. They said it being outdoors helped like kind of heal him on that little journey. But what really did,
You just needed
you need some fresh air, man. Yeah,
get out there.
Back in the day, you had tuberculosis, you moved to New Mexico. You know, that's how you solved it. But yeah, they got him out there. And his dad would hang out at these like, you know, livestock shows and rodeos, and they would hang out with all these other people in the horse trading business. And it was like, at that point, it was like, he just hung around. Again, a kid like Titanic Thompson and Amarillo Slim just cooked in gambling.
Yeah, absolutely. Because all those guys were gambling. And horse trading in itself was, like he says, like, you know, I always hustled, so I never really did work.
Yeah.
So horse trading itself was hustling. I mean, there was like he talks about it in interviews. The way that they would do it is like, so you would get like wind broken or like colic horses, which is like a respiratory disease that a horse gets, and you just try to pass them off as a good, healthy horse. Like they would do certain things, like if the horse was like over energetic, like dangerously wild, they'd get cotton balls and they'd soak them in chloroform and put them in the horse's nostrils, and then the horse is like chilling out. But like on the reverse, if the horse was like a lazy, sluggish, like wind broken, like already used horse, they would put like some pebbles in the horse's ear, which is terrible. Don't ever do that. But the horse would shake its head around and try.
So just look at it going crazy.
It looked like a bucking bronco, but it's like it looks like you when you get out of the shower and you got some water in your ear. You know what I mean? Where you're just like trying to hop and get that out. And so they would do that. Or there was another thing where like the horses would get so overworked under the harnesses, their muscles would collapse. So they'd like make a little hole in their skin and then use like there's like a quail feather or something, but like blow up and it's just like temporarily, literally blowing air into this horses.
Christ. That's like body horror type shit.
Yeah, no, I mean they did wild things to try to hustle people into buying
His
a horse.
dad was David Cronenberg.
It's kind of like, think about like all the things that somebody would do to sell you a car that's about to break next week, where it's like you drive it around the block and it's good, but once you get it going 55, it starts making a noise.
Dude, do you remember back when I drove that blue car?
Which one, Pat?
Yeah.
Which one are you about to bring up?
It was that blue Dodge Avenger that had racing stripes. Do you remember that period?
I do remember that.
I bought that car, and a week later, I was driving down 35.
It was a brief,
Yeah, the car lasted for a while, but I was driving down 35, and the fucking sunroof blew out of the top.
Yep.
Like it was like on a superhero movie, like when the superhero lands on the car, rips the top of the roof off, and snatches the criminal out. That's what it felt like was happening to me. I was like, "Fuck, they got me!"
Yeah. and then you call him, and you're like, "Hey, man, this happened." He's like, "Well, did you hit the ejector button?" And you're like, "What?" You're like, "Yeah, I installed one of those. I forgot to tell you."
Dude, talking about like criminal stuff, that like my own just like janky life dealings stopped me from confronting the car. I was like, man, I deserve this. I just went and got the kind of tape you put windows on with, like for houses, which is super strong tape, and put it back on there, and then reapplied it like every month till the car broke down.
Yep. I gotta go tape up my car.
Yeah.
And this is not a one-off with Pat. I mean, we could literally Pat could have a whole Auto Trader magazine full of
this car,
and all of them say zero total. They're all totaled.
Something always happens, man.
You got to part them out.
Yeah, I bought the Volvo C30, the Edward Cullen car. I had the Twilight Mobile, and that one I was driving through near a construction site. And a piece of errant rebar punctured my oil pan. And I drove 5 blocks not knowing what had happened, and the shit just seized up on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yep, that's rough.
Zach, on the other hand, your thing is you just buy cars and never drive them.
Yeah. I'm very similar in that way. I'm very similar in the way of not having good luck with cars. And also just being in desperate need of a car and being like, well, what do you want for it?
Yeah.
Wow, that seems like a great deal.
Yeah.
Kind of skeptical, but here you go. And then, next week something's messed up with it.
Yeah. Well, that's So that's just like selling those cars. We have an episode, a past episode that was really popular about a lady named Rita Crundwell, and she was a city manager in Indiana, and she for like 15 years was stealing like several $100,000 a year. And she was doing it to fund a show horse operation. So nobody was like, why does this bitch got these show horses? You make like $100,000 a year, girl. And she was like, she was stealing a whole bunch of money, lived in opulence. Her horse business was failing, but she bred the horses that would walk funny.
Yeah, I know.
That would do like little, and apparently there's like legit ways to get the horse to walk that way. But there's also a ton of just horrible ways. Anything you can think. It's like, oh, you want him to step high? I don't know. Set his hoof on fire. You know? Like,
yeah. No, horses are like people. You can manipulate them in that sense.
Yeah. I used to have the joke be like, when you're a horse cop, or when you're a cop, you have a choice of having a human partner or a horse you can fall in love with.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, it never makes sense to me. Like, I don't, like, they guess they use the horses for crowd control, but it's like, come on, you could use a bullhorn. You don't need a horse downtown.
I was crowd controlled by a horse. It wasn't even a crowd. I was coming back to the Velve. I was,
the horse just saw you and was like, damn, that's 4 people.
Yeah. No, I was walking back to the Velve. I got a slice of pizza, and I'm pretty trash. And I was standing there in the street, and they were just getting ready to shut down 6th Street, and they were kind of stunting with the horses, doing a little sideways walks. I never give cops any credit, but my high ass sat there with a slice of pizza. I was like, yeah, like I was so into what was happening.
Yeah, you gotta.
The horse.
Hey, the horse is just dancing.
Yeah.
You know?
So
isn't a cop necessarily.
Yeah. The horse is a dancer at heart, and I've always said that. So Benny Binion's dad, he was a horse trader. He got him out of there. So you used to know a little more about his early stuff. What was like his first entry into like the criminal world out of the horse trading world?
So he started. Well, it was like intertwined because those guys are always gambling, right?
Yeah.
All the horse traders would trade their horses, sell these lemon horses, if you will, and then
motherfucker's a lemon.
It's a lemon horse, and then they would gamble all night. And so Benny really started. He started playing poker. He said he was never really that good at it, but he kind of became in partners with the guys that were running the games as far as like bringing in guys to the game. So to meet people out in the street, basically like barking, basically like, hey, we got action over here if you want to. And so the way he describes it, he was always kind of on the other side of it, where he was never like a gambler that had to like learn how to do something crazy or
he was. Trust me, you'll see a picture of this guy. Benny Binion's not jumping over any fucking pool tables. He's not. I mean, he's not doing a Titanic Thompson by any means. He's not surviving a kayak trip like Amarillo Slim.
He's not playing golf. He's not an incredible athlete. He's not. Playing ping pong world champions.
He looks like he could be related to Louis Anderson.
Yeah,
like if you saw a picture of Louis Anderson's family and like you're just like going through it, you can see all the similar facial types.
Benny.
That's cousin Benny.
Yeah, that's cousin Benny for sure. But yeah, so he was always kind of on the other side of it. And so he was horse trading in El Paso with his dad.
Yeah.
And so I think when he was...
Shout out 915, Northeast. I lived there for a couple of years.
And so he kind of like got all of his start gambling-wise into that. And then he just moved to Dallas, which was popping off at the time.
Yeah.
And
also, we're dealing with our first Dallas guy here.
Yeah.
So you got to understand, this is a man not raised on HEBs. He has no understanding of Texas culture.
Right. Well, and I mean, he thought Dallas was the best city he'd ever seen, which I cannot personally back, but that's how Benny saw it.
Yeah.
And it was a crazy place at the time for sure. And he started kind of running. He started doing numbers, just basically a lottery.
Yeah, he ran the policy bets.
Yes.
Now, I should have this on hand. Policy bets is it 3 numbers?
It's 3 numbers.
3 numbers. And you just put in whatever 3 numbers you think it's going to be.
So no, not necessarily. They would send out guys, kind of like they had them. They were just selling the tickets.
Yeah.
And so each day it was either printed red, printed black, or printed green. So you couldn't really try to swap the numbers out. Like that's obviously 2 days ago.
Yep.
But they would sell the numbers, and then they could manipulate what got picked. They basically like do like a barrel roll of numbers, and then it was like the lottery before the lottery.
Yeah, if you've ever watched a crime movie, like a gangster movie that takes place in the 30s and 40s, there will be one throwaway line where they reference policy bets. Mm-hmm. And then Hoodlum with Lawrence Fishburne is all about policy bets.
Yes, running numbers was a thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so he got out there. He was taken in by like an older gangster named Warren Diamond.
Yeah.
And that was really where his association with crime like really started. Put him in the fast track, kind of like the graduation.
Yeah. And he was started bootlegging at that time too, because it was Prohibition.
Yeah, it was Prohibition. He was a bootlegger. He has a story where he was able to steal a whole bunch of booze out of a cop's evidence locker. Have you heard this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he basically he got all the cops drunk.
Yeah.
Like they all got drunk, and then while they were drunk, stole one of the cops' keys, and duplicates made, and then broke into the evidence locker where they kept all of the Prohibition liquor that they confiscated.
Such a cool story. B, here's my question. This sounds crazy. Why were those cops drinking liquor if it was illegal?
Well, right?
That's wild. I don't know what's happening.
Why were those cops drinking Benny's liquor when they could have just gone in the evidence cabinet and gotten it themselves? Who knows?
This is interesting how his booze connections all came from Mexico.
Right.
And like when you get into Prohibition, you have like on the Northeast, where like Northeast of Chicago, where we hear like most of these stories come out of these Prohibition era stories, everybody's getting from Canada.
Right.
He was running in from Mexico.
Well, because that's the El Paso start.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
he had all those connections already.
Yeah, he was already out there in El Paso. So he'd been taken in by this guy named Warren Diamond, and he climbs up the ranks, and fucking he's taken by Warren Diamond. He climbs up the ranks with this guy, and he eventually, when Warren Diamond died, he put him in charge of his operation.
Yeah, it was basically he took it over. He started running, and that's when he started running dice games.
Yeah, he was it was at the St. George's Hotel Casino on Commerce Street in Dallas.
Yeah, so he went to it. There's a place. Actually, I think the building might still be there, but it's in Arlington, and it was called the Topo Hill Terrace, and it was like a casino that was super nice.
Yeah.
And so Benny goes out there in like 1928, and like Buster Keaton's there, Howard Hughes is there, and so a bunch of rich people. He would go to that. He kind of got the inspiration for doing dice games there. He would go to that casino, and they would have like Murphy bed tables in the basement where you could shoot dice at. And if the cops ever came, there was only like one entrance. The other side of it was just like thorny bushes, and like they just couldn't get up there. So if the cops ever came, there was a tunnel where everybody could go to their cars parked out back and get out before the cops got in there. And by the time they folded up the tables like Murphy beds into the walls, and then they would all the dealers would be sitting around in a circle with Bibles and act like they were doing a Bible study.
And I know that's like it seems like a good camouflage, but at the end of the day, that's really a fuck you, because they know you're not in there reading Bibles. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have to do the Bible thing.
Yeah. You don't have to do that. That's a slap in the face to law enforcement.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so tight. So when he took over, so he got really in. One thing I thought was interesting was Dallas became a mob town, but he was kind of the. After he took over for Warren Diamond, there's like I don't know if it's like an apocryphal story if it really happened, but apparently they had like the commission had sat down with the mafia, and they were talking about where they can move to next, and one of them was like, we could do Dallas, and Benny Binion was like, or one of the guys stood up was like, no, we can't do that. They got a guy named Benny Binion down there. He's got killers on his payroll. Yeah. Did you hear about the two Texas Rangers that he had on his payroll that he kind of started his operation with?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was Manuel Lone Wolf Gonzalez. Apparently, so a criminal, basically another organized crime figure had been gotten in trouble and got removed from office. Right. So his wife ran for office. Right. And his wife ran for office, and essentially the thing was two governors for the price of one. Basically, like, elect me, you're getting my husband back. Mm-hmm. And he got in there, and they would essentially they fired all the law enforcement officers. So they fired Manuel Lone Wolf Gonzalez and another guy, and they called up Benny Binion and were like, "Yo, get down here to the Plaza Hotel. We got to talk." And he showed up. The dude was like in his bathrobe, and he's basically like, "We're gonna come work for you." And he thought he was getting strong armed. You know the story?
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so he's like, "We work for you," and he was like, "Well, look," he's like, "It's gonna be a 90-10 split." He's like, "No, I'm not handing my business to you to a 90-10 split." The cop was like, "No, you keep 90, we keep 10," and those dudes became like his hound dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he that was the thing about Benny Binion is he had friends everywhere. He had friends in the courthouse. He had friends on the cop. Like that's a big thing about Benny is. Everybody that like testified about him in court or anything always said he was a great dude. Like always was like, he's the best.
Yeah.
But if you crossed him, you were probably, he'd probably have you killed or.
Of the three guys we've talked about, the Texas Crooks and Zach Brooks, it goes, and so we have Titanic Thompson, less likely to kill you.
Yeah.
Amarillo Slim, couple guys got fucked up around that guy.
But I don't think he was responsible.
Yeah.
Benny Binion would just kill you.
Benny Binion would kill you. It was kind of part of his job to kill you.
Yeah, there's definitely people that Benny Binion killed that we don't even. He's probably got of documented at least the Binion family alone has like 13 or 14 bodies on him.
Yeah,
but
Jesus Christ,
who knows how much it actually was. Back in the early 1900s in Texas, you just kill somebody.
Yeah, dude, they had like those Western laws where it'd be like, well, he questioned my honor. And they're like, well, it looks like we're done here.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I think I'd do the same if my honor was questioned. So
yeah.
That's a wrap. Tell the jury to go home.
Yeah,
we already figured it out. Turns out,
Yeah, he called me a son of a bitch.
White, so
yeah. Well, speaking of that, so there's this one that comes up in every piece of material that I watch about Benny Binion, and he was actually convicted of murder. He was convicted of murder. In 1931, Binion was convicted of shooting and killing African-American rum runner Frank Bolding. He killed him, quote, cowboy style. That's how he earned the origin of Binion's cowboy nickname. But apparently, this dude's running booze, so is Binion. Yes. Benny goes to sit down and talk to him. And he ends up, at some point, pulling out a pistol and shooting Bolding dead.
Yeah.
And when questioned about it, he was like, yo, he pulled out a knife. And then like later he was like, nah, he didn't have a knife.
He didn't have a knife. I was just playing. You could just do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, why did you shoot him? I'm like, well, we were just arguing. And it's like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's how I get out of arguments.
All right, Benny, it was good seeing you.
Yeah.
You take care. That's pretty much how they handled it, especially with all of his friends. And you know, you just get away with anything.
He claimed self-defense, and that one, so he got charged. It was like a public trial.
Yes.
But his boy was the mayor. And so he gets, it was kind of funny. Every piece of media I watched about this really tap dances about how he got away with this. And I know it was back in Texas in the early 1900s. You could get away with stuff. But they're like, yeah, somehow Benny beat the charge, and we don't know how he did it. It's like, well, I think the fact that Frank Bolding was a black dude might have had a lot to do with it. Yeah, he was like...
It had a whole bunch to do
with it. Yeah, a whole bunch to do with it. But shout out to all these Texas historian YouTube pages, of which I watched a lot. Those are always fun. Whenever we do like historical research episodes and you get to see what the community who researches the shit looks like. And the Texas ones, they all kind of look like Benny Binion, but less dangerous.
Yeah.
And they're just like, and Binion's association with the mayor got him out of that one too. And I'm like, I bet it wasn't just that.
It wasn't just that one. Yeah.
He also had gotten into a shootout with a guy named Ben Frieden. And they just like emptied their clips into this dude, revolvers. And then fucking Binion pulls out his gun and shoots himself in the shoulder.
Yep.
Self-defense.
And throws his gun in the dude's lap.
Yeah.
And it's like...
He reached for my gun, officer, and it just keeps happening.
And then later admits that that's exactly how he did it.
Yeah. That's how we know about it.
Yeah, he goes, he didn't have a gun.
Yeah. So then it gets like kind of like his long-standing rival. This was still in Dallas, Herbert Noble, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Herbert was like probably like the number 2 dude in Dallas running dice games and numbers and all of that stuff. And Benny's already taxing everybody that's doing what he's doing. Like, if you're doing it, you're getting taxed by Benny, and you got to pay it. I think Noble was already getting taxed like 25%, and Benny was just like, really like this spot that Herbert had, and was like, all right, it's going to be 40% now. And Herbert was like, no.
Yeah.
No, fuck you, Benny. I'm not paying you anything anymore. And it really was like the first dude to stand up to Benny Binion in Dallas. And, Benny tried to have him,
11 times. It was like a Coyote Roadrunner relationship.
There was
with these
11
guys.
attempts. There was car bombs. There were shootings.
Yeah.
Herbert's wife died in his car.
That's
trying to go to Pilates or something.
Yeah,
They're like, Herbert, can I borrow your car? And then boom, car blows up. So he loses his wife. And then there's pictures of Herbert in a car pulling up to a gas station after it just been hit with buckshot, like shotgun.
Yeah,
that's
and he's
like, Benny didn't get me this time.
They were just laughing about, oh, Benny, you son of a bitch. You might have killed my wife, but you ain't killed me.
You're not killing old Herbert.
Yeah, like at one point he's driving down whatever became 35, and Benny pulled alongside him on a pair of rocket skates.
Yeah, Benny's doing everything.
But then, he painted a tunnel into a rock, and the dude drove right into it. Well, he eventually got him What, a mailbox bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was not necessarily a bomb in the mailbox because they're like, that's not going to work. This dude's invincible. So what it was a really big bomb buried right in front of the mailbox. And dudes were hiding in. They had been waiting for like 40 hours. Like they had set it up. They were waiting for him to come back from out of town. And he pulls up to check the mailbox. And then they got him because he was standing roughly right under a very big bomb.
Yeah. He just dropped a
It
piano
wasn't a
on him.
blast out of the mailbox, but yeah, it was a huge thing.
Yeah.
There's also pictures of the car that he was in. The bomb wasn't even under the car necessarily, but the whole thing, it's wild.
Yeah. Now, we can talk about this at this point. Like, Benny's on top of the game in Dallas. Like, he's just the undisputed king of Dallas. That's what he, like I said, he starts out the dice games at the Southland Hotel, which eventually that becomes known as the Southland Syndicate.
Yeah.
That's a hard ass name. If you showed me like a rap group from like the early 2000s, it was called the Southland Syndicate. I would fuck with that heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like by 1936, he controlled most of the gambling operations in Dallas, and he had protection from the politicians. He was like Vito Corleone in the way the politicians protected him. He had that like that old school racket, and that was when he began to run the Top of the Hill Terrace in Arlington. The Top of the Hill.
So that was the club I was talking about earlier that they had the Murphy beds. So he started going there. The owner, I'm trying to remember his name, but he had bought it. Was a tea room. It was like for rich people. It was like a country club basically. He bought it and turned it into a gambling den. But he was really bad at managing his money. He made it really nice. He spent a lot of money on like carpet and brass furnishings, making it way better than a lot of
He'll
underground.
end up doing that again in Vegas because Vegas, like the casinos were like fucking like horse stables essentially.
Right. I mean, gambling back then was like associated with just like dirty. Like there was no class to it at all.
Yeah.
And so he saw that in Top Hill Terrace, and then he the guy who owned it needed loans and got loans from Benny, and when he couldn't pay it, Benny ended up owning I think like 50% of it, and so he kept running that. And yeah, that's like a classic thing. It's like, oh, you need some money? Guess what? Now all this stuff is mine. It's yours. Yeah.
That's monopoly rules.
It's a classic Sopranos Davy bust out.
Yeah.
I mean? It's like you owe me money, and now I'm charging plane tickets to your sporting goods store.
Yeah. Get back in your cage when he was living in the fucking tent. Yeah.
I guess what? I'm taking your son's car and I'm giving it to my daughter without even thinking of the repercussions.
It's just reckless, dude. Oh man. So at one point he has to get out of Dallas because he gets a little too big for Dallas. And essentially I heard that so the impetus was like basically he was paying off people. He started realizing like, man, how much I'm paying here, I can just go to Vegas.
It was that combined with the heat was more on, like people, his original friends were kind of not so much more in power. He felt like the heat was on in Dallas as far as like murder charges and since he's been going around telling people he's already been going around telling
convicted of murder.
Yeah, he's been going around telling people that's not the way it actually happened, and he never had a gun. So he's like, maybe I should go to. But he sees an opportunity in Vegas. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, he was all the way out. And they say that when he left Dallas, he has a connection to the Kennedy assassination. Essentially, when he left, the mob was like, yo, Dallas is wide open. And as I understand, they sent one Jack Rubenstein down there to be like, hey, go feel this shit out for us. And as far as I understand,
he got caught up in some shit, I guess.
I guess he hit a snag somewhere.
Yeah, you took the wrong GTA side mission, Jack. I don't know why you took that side mission.
Yeah, what he did was he did a parlay bet that he's like, I don't think JFK's head will explode when he comes into Dallas. And then you know sometimes you lose.
Yep.
I think his head just did that. That's from last podcast. I stole that. But so he moves to Las Vegas, and there he becomes a partner of the Las Vegas Club Casino. But this is going to haunt him like the rest of his time out there. Licensing conflicts, because he's just like he's 100 like he's never able to get a gambling license.
Well, you got to remember the dude cannot read. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So-
yeah, you're right, dog. I forgot he can't read.
He can't read. He hasn't been past the second grade.
Yeah.
So let's keep this
He's
in mind.
You
the
show
whole
him a picture
time.
of a sailboat, you know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
ask him what a triangle is. He's got
he can
that.
do association.
Yeah.
But well, and later people were like he could read better than he'd let on. But he loved keeping that persona of like friendly cowboy, nice guy.
Yeah.
And he would always take people's credit. And his whole thing was just taking as much action as he can take. As
Yep.
many bets as somebody wanted a big credit, he'd give it to him.
Yeah. He went out there. Yeah, that was the one thing he had no limits on his bets. He also he instituted a lot of like the kickbacks. Like, hey, you get a $2 steak dinner. Hey, you get a free drink.
So he was the first guy to open a casino in Vegas that had carpet.
yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was sawdust floors.
Yeah.
Before that, and it's
So
like those idiots are like, oh damn, yeah, it would be nice if it wasn't sawdust. We should have thought about that.
So there's a great story about the opening night of the Horseshoe Casino, the casino that Benny opened.
Binion's Horseshoe.
Binion's Horseshoe. The name is still out there. Like there's still a horseshoe.
Yeah.
It's not owned by the same people. I think MGM Grand bought it, but
Harris. It was Harris.
was it Harris? Fucking Harris. Sorry, I have PTSD from Harris in New Orleans. If anyone who works at Harris in New Orleans is listening to this, I know what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a great story about the guy who installed the carpet. It cost Benny like $12,000, which at the time
It's
is
a lot. It's a lot of
I
money.
mean, it's a lot of carpet. The guy came back and started playing craps on the opening night and gave back exactly
God
12 G's.
damn.
And Benny was like, well, no matter what happens for the rest of the night, we already got the carpet paid for.
Yeah. Man,
That dude just put in so much work on a job. 12 G's and
12
what?
G's.
Yeah.
And his
Yeah.
wife's like, hey, baby, so I've been thinking of you. Yeah, that big job. I was thinking we go out, we get a new car, we put an addition to the house. He's
Yeah.
like,
I'm gonna go to the opening though, see how people like the carpets. And I'll probably bring because I gotta pick up the money from Benny. You know what I mean?
I should probably get
Benny
down
just
there.
pays them in chips. Like, have a good time.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, so he did the $2 steak special, which I'm just hung up on that because I'm fucking starving right now. But yeah, he was also he would offer 100 times odds at craps,
Yes.
which is insane.
Yes.
Yeah, and also he used to have a big ass horseshoe display with $1 million encased in glass, and it was like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what $1 million looks like, and that's the American dream to see $1 million.
It was a huge hit. I mean, the dude was a genius as far as that goes. I mean, to be the first guy to give people free drinks if they're gambling.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's insane.
That's a no-brainer.
Every time I've gone
Obviously
to a
do
casino,
that.
yeah, every time I've gone to a casino, I guess I drink too much for
Well, you
like,
sure do, Pat.
yeah, no end of the story. I think I drink too much. No, but whenever I'm at a casino, I just always end up going and getting a drink because like they can wait. They don't come around like that.
Yeah.
Also, I'm usually at a
You
slot
got to
table.
tip them though, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, I tip. I can do it as I'm at a slot table, and I'm not really. They're not focused on me. I'm at the nickel slot. You know, they're not bringing
That's
drinks
true.
around. The
Yeah,
nickel slot.
I know what you mean because they bring you a little drink and you just slam it immediately.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm just gonna have to go get another one because no way. I can still see her walking away.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
no
It's like, girl,
way.
you're just gonna want to get back over here.
But yeah, I mean, to be the dude that's like, I'm gonna put $1 million on display, and so many people just showed up to take pictures with it. And he's like, "Well, you want to drink? Well, you got to gamble if you want to."
Yeah.
It's just
What
he's
do you
getting
know?
people hooked.
Yeah, they said he would serve a chili recipe. Or he would serve chili there made from his recipes. He really leaned into the whole cowboy thing.
He did.
He's like, I mean, I guess like being a cowboy. Vegas is a cowboy town, but at this point they had kind of hid that part of it. Because Vegas, the whole start of the entertainment industry of Vegas, I don't know if you know this about the divorces.
Mm-hmm.
So you used to not be able to get a divorce in America. And they were like, there's got to be one place you can do it because, motherfuckers need to get divorced. So
Make them go to the desert.
maybe go to the desert. But the thing was like to skirt like purity laws, they were like, okay, you gotta be here for 1 week. You got to be here for a week. So they started all these like Western experience tours. So like rich ladies trying to divorce their husbands or vice versa will go out there and then you can hang out with a cowboy, go ride through a canyon on a horse. And then like, I think when the mob got in there, they tried to kind of like push that look out of there a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Benny came in and was like, "Nah, baby, nah, buckaroos. It's all hats and boots, baby."
And Benny was the only guy doing that at the time. Everybody else was mobsters.
Yeah.
You had Lucky and Rawstein and all those guys in there. But Benny was forever just and he didn't dress sharp. I mean, he just wore like frumpy cowboy.
Yeah, he dressed like Taylor. He dressed like our boy Taylor Downey. You know what I'm saying?
Taylor dressed sharper than Benny's like wrinkled suit.
Yeah.
Really pushing the I can't read thing. And you're like, wow, what a nice guy.
Man, if I was involved in organized crime and I could read, but everybody thought I couldn't, I don't think I'd correct him.
I wouldn't correct
him. Yeah. I'd be like, damn, man, I tried to make it over here for the drug deal, and I couldn't read any of the damn signs. I'd be like, what's that all about, you know? Like,
I would definitely lean into it. I'd be at the restaurant. And I'd just be like, yeah, can I get the chicken parmesan, please? I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah, I have no clue what that is.
My friends can help me out. Let me know what the sides are. I don't know what the sides are.
So that way, I don't know if you guys have macaroni or potato salad. I don't know what's going on. And that way,
is this in French?
If somebody's gonna kill you, they're clearly gonna write it down and slide to their buddy like, "Hey, let's kill this guy. He can't read." He's gonna write that down. You're gonna be like, "I can read.
I actually can."
He's gonna pull off that sawed-off shotgun he always kept like close by.
Yep.
Yeah, Benny was never having a sawed-off shotgun, just on deck at all times.
Also, an ankle pistol. He always kept a pistol on his foot, I believe.
You know who he looks like? Have you seen the Coen Brothers movie Blood Simple?
No, I haven't.
So in Blood Simple, there is a hitman character that looks and dresses like Benny Binion.
Okay.
Yeah, well, everybody needed to know that.
No, I definitely did.
Yeah. So let's So he gets out there. So let's get into what he's known for. First of all, he's the first guy to bring. Was he the guy that brought poker to Vegas? Right.
Yes.
He didn't just bring dice. Dice was already there.
Dice was already there, and that's pretty much all it was. That and roulette. But he brought mainly Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, Texas Hold'em.
So
poker,
he brought Texas Hold'em. There were still card games going on, but they were still like backroom, dingy, sawdust floors.
Yeah.
Degenerate vibe.
Yeah.
More like Yeah. It wasn't something that was like classy or, super encouraged as far as that goes. But he just saw action, so he just made it better for everybody that did it.
Yeah, and he started the whole thing is the World Series of Poker.
Yes,
that's his invention. And the World Series of Poker, he had bought that out from another organization, correct?
Yeah. So there was the World Series of Poker actually started. I mean, the idea of it started in Reno. There was a guy in Reno that was basically hosting big stakes games with classic poker dudes. That was kind of a tournament style, winner take all, and people started he went out to one of them. People were like standing around watching it like it was entertainment. You'd never seen anything like that. And so him and Amarillo Slim, I believe, was one of the first guys. They all got all of the big poker players together, and they started the World Series of Poker.
Yeah. Our boy Titanic was there too, as well, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. And Titanic was kind of.
He was old at that point.
He was old.
He's older than the rest of them. Yeah.
Yeah, he was, because he was born in 18. I don't know, something old, and at that point he showed up kind of just to be a face there.
Yeah. So he, so in 1970, he would arrange heads-up matches between high-stakes players. He played no-limit Texas Hold'em. Players competed for cash at the table. He introduced all these things like the $10,000 buy-in, and just really brought the money. The thing that would legitimize that shit and put it out into the world. He kind of got all that started. So yeah, he did have obviously some legal troubles. He did serve time in Leavenworth Penitentiary.
Yeah, for tax evasion.
Yeah, tax evasion 54 to 57.
Coolest thing to go to jail for.
Yeah. You're in the Capone Club at that point.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So things would wind down eventually. Like he lost control of the Horseshoe Casino. Like we said, Harrah's bought it. But he did remain he maintained that kind of that Vegas celebrity thing where they kind of bring him in to be the face of stuff for a while.
Absolutely. He definitely was a thing where he had to sell off. He got in trouble a bunch. I mean, the government came after him. They wouldn't stop. He had to sell off a bunch of the Horseshoe, basically kind of ran it behind the guise of being the manager of like whatever and not being the owner, but still being the owner.
Yeah.
And then his sons ran it for a long time.
His son, I texted you about this the other day. His son, Ted Binion,
Got murdered.
Got murdered. I was listening to a Dateline episode, and it was like, it's in Vegas. This rich kid, like this playboy, this Vegas royalty. And they were like, Ted Binion. And I was like, that can't be. And it was.
Yeah,
his son got murdered by his wife, right?
He had 2 sons, Jack Binion and Ted Binion.
Yeah. Jack Binion, I see on all the documentaries and stuff. Like, he's still kind of a face for the thing, right?
Yeah. But yeah, he's from everything I've read about Benny Binion, people have always been like, he was a good dude.
Yeah.
Like they talk about the fucked up shit he did, but for some reason they're still rooting for the dude.
Yeah, still rooting for the guy. I mean, like, I feel like he left his violent tendencies behind when he moved to Vegas.
He
a little bit.
started trying to realize he started realizing that he couldn't keep getting in trouble.
Yeah, he's like, man, I can't go ahead and tell people
can't
how I
just
got
keep
away with
murdering.
murder. Yeah,
Yeah.
I should
It's
probably.
now the 70s. You weren't even thinking about that. They got cameras and shit.
Yeah, he made it all the way into our lifetimes. I don't know about you, but me and him shared the planet for about 4 years.
Yeah, no, I don't. What he died in what 89?
89, yeah.
Yeah,
He died
I
on
was
Christmas.
born in 90.
Yeah. Oh man, yo, was that meme where it's like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
born, died in 1989, born in 1990. Welcome back, Binion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing I want to mention that he was part of, that it was because he was so for a guy that never gambled, he had the World Series of Poker, and for a guy that never rode a horse, so he's the Poker Hall of Fame. And he never rode a horse. He's also in the Rodeo Hall of Fame because he moved the National Finals Rodeo to Las Vegas.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, and his whole idea with World Series of Poker too was it was a big thing of getting all of everybody together at one time. So that's also when they did the golf tournament where they would bet a lot.
Yeah.
And then he grouped it together at the same time where it's like right around the same time as the rodeo. So it's like he's getting all of these gamblers from different areas and bringing them all to Vegas to like just keep that action going.
Yeah,
It's like no matter what happens during the day, at night they're going to come out and they're going to gamble with me.
The same way that like Amarillo Slim had to hit the road to go make money. It's like obviously you're gonna make money gambling. You know, like if you're gonna make money gambling or making money off gambling, you really got to be pounding the pavement. Like Amarillo Slim, him and those other 2 dudes hit the road. They started playing games, and this dude was like, "No, I got to keep people coming in." I think he really understood the concept of that.
Yeah,
which probably like I don't.
He was all customer service. That's what he was.
Yeah,
he was providing a service, and yeah, I mean, if you crossed him, he might.
Might kill you.
Or if you got caught like cheating or counting cards, they fucked your ass up.
Yeah.
They like took you out back and like beat you silly.
Yeah.
And never got in trouble for any of that stuff. But that he was definitely that strong arm technique of if he doesn't like you, he's gonna get you. But
yeah, and if
everybody loves him.
If you look at it now, like Vegas is now like it's almost like they've weaponized customer service.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when he got there, it was buildings that used to be fucking stables. They had sawdust floors. It was, you're coming here to gamble. That's why you're here. We're not drawing you in with anything. You're just coming here to gamble. I would say he got the ball rolling on the idea of like, let's make this a consumer experience. We get people out here, start dropping that money. And next thing you know, you just got this insane hole in the desert where people just pour money into.
Yep.
But yeah, Benny Binion did pass away. I would put a fact is that he did own a horse named the N-word. Have you heard about this?
I don't think I knew about that. I don't think I knew about that.
Every guy that we've covered in this series has all this cool shit about him. They got like one big glaring fact that's not that cool.
Not cool, Benny. Not cool.
Yeah. He had, but they said that while he had that, they in retrospect, they like retconned it and called it Benny Binion's gelding. But it was definitely the N-word, and it won the National Cutting Horse Association Championships from 46 to 48.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess that league got integrated a lot quicker than the others.
Jeez. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Benny Binion, he did die on Christmas, 1989, in Las Vegas of heart failure. I mean, the man had some jowls. So I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah, and so the Amarillo Slim, the focus of our last episode, suggested an epitaph. He said he was either the gentlest bad guy or the baddest good guy you've ever seen.
Yep.
And I think that's a correct summation of Benny Binion's time here on this planet.
Absolutely.
So, Zach, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this has been incredible.
Yeah.
Great series. It's been really fun. I think I'm glad we got a chance to get you in here. We are going to be shooting the dice game segment. I'm not sure yet on how we're going to include that in the episode. If it's going to be the video. So we're going to do a sign off. We're going to sign off. And,
Yeah.
So
we gotta.
I know you guys don't want to listen to us shoot dice. You know,
I think they do. I think they do, Pat. I think they do.
Well, we'll still have the audio. It'll be out there. We can do what we want with it, but I do want to do a proper sign off before you just hear fucking dice hitting felt. But yeah, in honor of Benny Binion, the much promised dice game we talked about is going to be happening right here, right now. So if you guys are listening to this, check out our YouTube. That'll probably be the better way to go about it. I would say. Sure. So yeah, Zach, thanks for coming on. You got anything you want to plug?
No. Gambling.
Gamble. Just gamble. Just put somebody down or something.
Feel something.
Yeah, guys. It's gonna be coming out in February. I'm going to be hosting with Pat Dean. This is fresh off the presses. I got this text before I came here. Me and Pat Dean of Velveeta Room fame are going to be hosting Pat Fest 2024 at the Velveeta Room on Friday, February 23rd at 10 o'clock. So that's going to be fun. Check out for that. Guys, yeah, like I said, if you guys like what you heard, you can find us online. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Light Sheet Steel Podcast. We are also on YouTube at Light Sheet Steel Podcast. You can find us on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Light Sheet and Steel. We really are big on this light sheeting and stealing part. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the series. Let us know what you thought in the comments. If you got some stuff that we missed or some comments you want to throw in, we've been appreciating the feedback. That being said, yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Zach, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Shout out Kath, who is not in a liquor store basement shooting dice right now, but is actually doing real comedy. And we love you.
This is real.
Thanks for tuning in. Guys, be safe, be smart, but above all, don't get caught.